Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Bellingham on February 13th, the day before Valentine's Day. And so, of course, my gratitude is about love. I don't know what love has shown up for you in your life, but in mine, I've been very blessed to have love in many different forms. But today, I'm grateful for the love that I feel emanating from the indwelling presence that I know is within you, and I know is within me and all things. So with that reminder, let's go to Amber Darlin and have some lovely music.
Well, good morning, CSL Bellingham, and everybody who's tuned in today. Thanks for being here. Let's go ahead and sing All Is Well. I'm not worried about tomorrow. Today I declare freedom from yesterday, mistakes of the past. Today all things are made brand new, and don't it feel good to know that all is well and unfolding as it should. Sing all is well, all is well, all is well. Even Spirit is directing me right now. All is well, all is well, all is well, and unfolding as it should. I can change my reality by changing my mind. Perfect peace, joy, and happiness is yours and it's mine. I am loved and so are you. And don't it feel good to know that all is well and unfolding as it should. Sing it out, here we go. All is well, all is well. Even Spirit is directing me right now. All is well, all is well, all is well, and unfolding as it should. Let's sing all is well one more time. Here we go. All is well, all is well. Even Spirit is directing me right now. All is well, all is well, all is well, and unfolding as it should. All is well and unfolding as it should. Yes, all is unfolding just as it should. Take a minute if you're out there in social media land, on YouTube or Facebook. This is a great time to say hello to your spiritual community. Let us know where you're from and just say hello to all our friends out there. It sure is nice to have the platforms to be able to connect even if we are not in person right now. All right, let's sing My Soul is Welcome Here. We are in the right place at the right time. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Clap, clap. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. Are you clapping? My soul is welcome here. 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 All right, well, thanks for singing along. We're going to move on over.
Am I on? Good morning. Good morning and welcome to all of us. I'm Deb, practitioner here at CSL Bellingham. Join me in an invocational prayer. God, what a glorious day. Frosty, sparkly, and then the sun rising, and then now look at this. Sun everywhere. The presence, the palpable presence of Spirit in this place. I know that each one of us is an outpicturing of Spirit. I know that we're each here to breathe in more Spirit, to connect more deeply. And I know that each one of us is here in this human form to do that which is ours to do, to express ourselves. I am so grateful that we are here. I'm grateful for this place, this teaching, our teachers, and I'm grateful for this human form. I'm grateful for this day. And so I release these words out into that creative medium, that law of cause and effect that is always there, that always responds and always says yes. So as I release these words, I know that they are so. They are done. And so it is.
You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of love. You are the face of love. I hold you in my heart. You are my family. You are the face of love. Let's sing that again. You are the face of love. I hold you in my heart. You are my family. You are the face of love. You are my family. You are my family. You are the face of love. Well, let's sing one more song together as part of this musical meditation. All of me designed to perfection. All of me beautiful and sacred. All of me a wonder, expression of the infinite. all of me, pure light divine, all of me designed to perfection, all of me designed to perfection, all of me beautiful and sacred, all of me beautiful and sacred, a wonder expression of the infinite, all of me a wonder expression of the infinite, all of me pure light divine. Let's sing all is love, all is light. 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 All of me, pure light divine. All of me designed to perfection, all of me beautiful and sacred, all of me a wonder expression of the infinite, all of me pure light divine. All is love, all is love, all is light. All is love, all is light. All is love, all is light. All of me, pure light divine. All is love, all is light. 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 All of me, pure light divine. All of me, pure light divine.
Thank you, Amber. So grateful for that song as a reminder of our indwelling love and light, even in times where we can't exactly feel it as a personality self. So welcome again, everybody. I'm going to be speaking today on how to be an adult in relationship. And as some of you know, long ago when I was first being a minister, Ann Landers would write a column in the paper, and I would read it. And frequently at the end of one little bit of advice she would give someone, she would say, ask your clergy person. And as a clergy person, I would be, don't ask me. I don't know what to do. Jeez. And so eventually that led me to go back and take a master's degree in counseling psychology and become a marriage and family therapist for a time. And one of my focuses was on relationships, because pretty much everything that walked through the door of my counseling room had to do somehow or another with a relationship. And so I wanted to share a couple of things that I learned, and they have to do with the spiritual path of relationships. And so, of course, in 20 minutes or so, I can't really give you the whole thing that I would, but maybe we'll have a workshop that you can attend if this is of interest to you. Let us know on social media or by emailing the center. So, you know, one of the greatest philosophers of all time, really, Teilhard de Chardin, said, "The most empowering relationships are those in which each partner lifts the other to a higher possession of their own being." And you see, that for me is part of the learning on the spiritual path of relationships, is how to lift another person, whether they're a partner, a spouse, a friend, a child. You know, how do we lift someone in order to create a space where they can become even more of their true nature? And that's why relationships are such a spiritual path. So I wanted to read you a story that some of you have probably heard. I've been teaching a homes class for for people who are becoming ministers, and it's on counseling. And so I read them this story because it has to do with relationships to ourselves and to everybody else. And it's a very ancient story, traditional. You find it in many different cultures in many different iterations. This one is the Swedish version. So because of the mishaps of her parents, remember that line, that's important in terms of relationships. Because of the mishaps of her parents, a young princess named Eris must be betrothed to a fearful dragon. When the king and queen tell her, she becomes frightened for her life. But recovering her wits, she goes out beyond the market to seek a wise woman who has raised 12 children and 29 grandchildren, and who knows the ways of dragons and men. The wise woman tells Eris that indeed she must marry the dragon, but that there are proper ways to approach him. She then gives instructions for the wedding night. In particular, the princess is bidden to wear 10 beautiful gowns, one on top of the other. The wedding takes place. A feast is held in the palace, and after, the dragon carries the princess off to his bedchamber. When the dragon advances upon his bride, she stops him, saying that she must carefully remove her wedding attire before offering her heart to him. And he too, she adds, instructed by the wise woman, must properly remove his attire. To this, he willingly agrees. As I take off each layer of my gown, you must also remove a layer. Then, taking off the first gown, the princess watches as the dragon sheds his outer layer of scaly armor. Though it is painful, the dragon has done this periodically before. But then the princess removes another gown, and then another. And each time the dragon finds he must also claw off a deeper layer of scales. By the fifth gown, the dragon begins to weep copious tears at the pain. And yet, the princess continues. With each successive layer, the dragon's skin becomes more tender and his form softens. He becomes lighter and lighter. And when the princess removes her 10th gown, the dragon releases the last vestige of dragon form and emerges a man of fine prince with eyes that sparkle like a child's, released at last from an ancient spell from his dragon form. Princess Eris and her new husband are then left to the pleasures of their bridal chamber to fulfill the last advice of the wise woman with 12 children and 29 grandchildren. It's a great story. And it has to do for me in this talk with the layers that you and I are embedded within, and how, in order to have a relationship as an adult, we have to be sensitive to the mishaps of our parents, who, God love them, did the best they knew how at the time that they were raising us, that created some of those initial layers that they felt would protect us and move us with alacrity into society. After those layers, then came more that we put on. Just like the dragon was under a spell, sometimes we're under the spell of how we encounter relationships in the world and what we begin to believe about ourselves in relationship as well as other people. And so we enter into relationships clothed, if you will, with many, many layers. And the spiritual path, of course, is a path of removing layers, right? And so a relationship that is centered as a spiritual path is that way because it consists of a continual shedding of illusions, which is the whole journey of the spiritual path. So what would these illusions be, and have you experienced them? And one of them that I'm aware of, that I became crucially aware of when I was working with couples in particular, but also parents and children, is that for a huge swath of society in Western culture, but I think also it's extended globally in some cultures, is that we've sort of been, not sort of, we've been Disney-fied. Now, what I mean by that is that the Disney films that began to show up in our culture and in other cultures as early as the late 20s and have continued therein for many, many years, for a number of decades, took their storyline from the fairy tales of old, but with a twist. So there was no real darkness that the fairy tales might have included, other than the really black and white issue of evil and good. And the heroine and the hero were always on the side of good, and the evil whatever was always on the side of bad. And so we grew up understanding that relationships were that black and white, for one thing. And that also there was going to be forevermore a prince or a princess that would meet our every need, and we would ride into the sunset on white horses, holding hands, forever happy eternally. Do you remember that? Yeah. Fortunately for us, Disney has received the message that those images and those ideas are actually detrimental to young people growing up, and that a more complex perspective on relationships and reality might be particularly helpful in this time in our society. So I met in many of the counseling sessions the illusion that if I only found the right person and they found me, everything would be perfect. And we would ride into the sunset happily ever after, no matter what came our way, because we had each other. And I hope I'm not the only one to break this to you, but that's just not it. That doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Hear me again. It doesn't happen that way. It's not to say that you can't have wonderful relationships. And it's not to say that you can find people that truly are beautiful additions to your life. But the idea somehow that another person will bring us fulfillment and happiness is false, and causes a great deal of sorrow and suffering in relationship land. So that said, what's true? What's true, especially if we're holding relationships as a spiritual path that awakens us to our greater understanding and our truest nature, and hopefully lifts the other person into an understanding of their true nature. What's true? And so this is what's true. What's true is that a romantic partner, a life partner, a child and parent relationship really can only be expected to meet about 25% of our needs. Where does the other 75% come from? And the answer is, if you're an adult in a relationship, it comes from you and me. It comes from our own selves and what we involve ourselves with in the world. So we seek out friendships, we seek out networks, we seek out self-expression in the arts and in the creative capabilities that draw us, whether it's sports or writing or playing in some way. So we fulfill ourselves. And that is not necessarily the message that we received. And so it's kind of a shock to realize, but it's such a relief to those of you in a relationship for yourself and your partner. 25% is manageable. We can do that. But 100%, not so much. So what do we need to understand about what we're looking for in relationship, and what are some of the pernicious ways that we sabotage our relationships that as adults we can now take hold of and strip away some of the illusory layers of believing that somehow it all would be perfect, and instead begin to work, roll up our sleeves, and begin to work with ourselves in the expectations and the understandings that maybe really are no longer serving us. Maybe they never did, and we're just finally coming to that place. So let me talk to you about something that many here in our center have heard about from time to time, because it's a brilliant kind of condensation of what we're looking for in another person and what we can bring to ourselves as well. So David Rico, in his book, How to Be an Adult in Relationship, talks about the 5 A's. And these are the 5 aspects of relationship that as children we either received or didn't. And if we didn't receive those, we then as adults begin to go on a quest to find ways to have those needs satisfied. Because they're needs. They're not desires that aren't real. They're needs. They're things just like water and food and shelter that we need in order to be whole and complete as sacred humans. So what are they? Well, the first one is attention. Now, I'm sure you, in your travels through education land, may have been exposed to the films of orphans in Romania or Russia or China or America or wherever you saw the film, where there were too many children who had been abandoned and too few staff. And so the babies were not handled. They were not held. They were not paid attention to. They were fed. They were changed. And that was as far as it went. And those children grew up to rock. If you see the films, you'll see that they're rocking. Why are they rocking? They didn't receive enough attention in their formative years to actually even feel like they were seen, that they were sacred humans. So attention is the first thing that we all need. Remember, need, not want, need. And so if you didn't receive attention in those mishaps of your parents' years, then one of the things you're going to go looking for, understandably, is someone to pay attention to you. And that can be good, and that can be bad, because a lot of times we settle for the kind of attention that actually is not helpful and can even be damaging. So how do we change that? Well, it's a work of the spiritual path to begin to pay attention to ourselves and to give self-acknowledgement, and then to seek out healthy relationships that give us attention, but in the highest form that we can receive. I only have 5 more minutes. I'm going to go a little long, but let me move on. The second is appreciation, and like attention, it's really being valued and appreciated for our uniqueness, for who we are and who we were made to be in this lifetime. And so those who give us appreciation affirm us in our uniqueness. And when we don't have that, we go looking for it. The third one is acceptance, and this is a little harder, especially speaking as a parent myself. Raising children, there's for many of us a responsibility to help them manage their role in society. And often children are not particularly designed to fit in to a mold that society has for we as adults. And so we spend some of our adult lives, our parental life, trying to make sure that our children are not too wild, not too shy, not too boisterous, not too loud, not too this, not too that, on and on and on. And so it's not really acceptance, is it? And so there's a difficulty there for parents because we have these two charges. We should accept our children just the way they are, but we also have a responsibility to help them fit into society so they're not ostracized, right? Tricky. So we look for acceptance in ourselves. In fact, one of the keynotes, if you entered a spiritual path that you started hearing was, you need to love yourself the way you are, which is another way of saying, accept yourself with all your lumps, bumps, and warts, like my dermatologist likes to say, and move on with an acceptance. The fourth A is affection. And affection is difficult to quantify, but it's a look in a person's eye when they see you. It's a desire to be close. It's a valuing an amusement with how you are as a being in the most positive way. And affection is the grease of the wheels of relationship. And so if you're having trouble in a relationship right now, and maybe none of you are, but let's say that happens, one of the things that can be amped up to grease the wheels of reconciliation and love is to get in touch with your affection, your affectionate regard for your partner. And the last one is allowing. And what does that mean? That means allowing your beloved other to be exactly as they are and to make the mistakes and take their own journey in the unfolding of their nature. And that seems like, well, yeah, of course, right? Except a lot of people don't allow their partner to be that. And they become a parent to the partner who then is placed in a child role. And so there's a lot of, thou shalt not do this, and you shall not say this at a party. You may not go here. You may not. So allowing has a lot to do with opening to the fact that we are free, sacred humans, and relationship should allow us to become freer in ourselves, not more bound. So just briefly, I want to talk to you about the pernicious errors that we make in relationship that would sabotage those 5 A's. It's a formula called FACE, F-A-C-E. And so the first pernicious mistake we make, the error we make with ourselves and our partners, is to come from fear. Moving from fear, as you probably know, is a shutdown and a shut-in. Just think of the last time you were afraid, and you'll notice that there's a closing and a constriction that happens. And when we're in relationship, if we spend a lot of our time fearful about what the other person is thinking or what the other person is doing, or, we're going to constrict, and that's going to interfere with our ability to be lifting our partner up or lifting ourselves up. A stands for attachment. And attachment, I wrote a couple notes about this, but just think about attachment on the spiritual path and how we're encouraged to have non-attachment, meaning that we can allow other people to have their views, have their ideas, have their belief systems, still love them, and not be attached to having them have to have ours, not to have my beliefs, not to have my understanding, not to have my thoughts. And when this translates down into a relationship of love, often that disappears, and we become very attached to having our person, our children, our person, even our animals sometimes, be the way we want them to be. And so right away, we begin the process of shaping and not allowing. And it's damaging and will ultimately lead to a relationship that's not functional. C stands for control, which, like attachment, has to do with our need to have the other person be the way we thought they should be. And this sometimes goes back to that first layer of the mishaps of our parents, who may not have given us the 5 A's. Maybe they didn't give us any, or only 1 or 2. And when we met our person, we thought to ourselves, oh, they're giving me what I've always needed, and the other person hopefully is thinking the same. But of course, over the course and trajectory of a lifetime together, those needs don't get met all the time. And so we begin to think, well, if I can control this, I'll get what I need. And it's all subconscious. It's another layer. It's not like we all wander around wanting to control people, by and large. And so that's a layer to look at. Are we trying to make things happen in the relationship so that we can get our needs met? It's a valid question, but control is not the answer. So we're constantly frustrated when we try to approach it from that angle. And the last in face is entitlement. And that goes to believing that we are entitled to what we had in the first place, in the honeymoon phase of our relationship. And sometimes even further than that, it's a illusory idea that somehow we're entitled to receive everything that we could possibly want. The common verbiage right now is Karen. We become Karen, who is entitled to whatever, you know. And so in a relationship, entitlement is, it's annoying, right? But it's also damaging. And so that layer of looking at ourselves is fantastic spiritual practice, to begin to ask ourselves, what are we believing we should have in our relationship? What are we believing we are entitled to? And maybe opening the conversation within ourselves to a different idea, an idea that would say, well, certainly we have agreements in our relationships. Certainly we have codes of conduct and expectations that are from an adult perspective of setting healthy boundaries and healthy parameters for how we're going to do this walk together. And certainly there are other things that creep into my relationship, you might say to yourself, that I could look at that are not necessarily as adult-based as I would want. All of this goes to an understanding that Rumi, so many centuries ago, spoke to in teaching his students about how to invite the beloved presence, the friend, he called it, into our hearts. So this goes for spiritual life, it goes for relational life. He said, your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself you have built against it. So the process of healthy adult relationships has to do with looking at the layers and removing them, looking at the barriers that have been built out of fear or attachment or control or entitlement, and then asking the important deep questions. What are my needs as a sacred human, and how can I find ways to meet those needs in myself, with myself, so that I free the people in my life to be there in healthy adult ways with me, and we share 25% of meeting the needs that those 5 A's speak to, and the rest I find ways in myself to meet. This may not be the most popular talk I've ever given out there in virtual land. I wish that I could say, perhaps, that all of your dreams that you've always had about relationship would come true the way you were thinking they would. But what I can say is that in doing this spiritual work with another sacred human, you are walking one of the most powerful paths to illumination, compassion, loving kindness, and connection that you could walk. So let me do a prayer for that and end with the encouragement to look deeply at how you've been doing relationships and find new ways to consider how to open to love, which is your true nature. So here we go. Join me in this prayer, and if it's right for you, please say yes. Love is. It exists beyond time and space. It is not limited to any person, place, or experience. It flows through all things. It manifests itself in the beauty of nature, in the connection we have with nature. It manifests itself through the unconditional giving of so many of our animal species. And it manifests through every single sacred human. It is our divine and true nature. And part of the journey of this lifetime is to unveil and open to love in all of its ways through us. So I know for you, and I know for myself on this day before Valentine's Day, that love is moving, a mighty, powerful, moving force of compassion, self-regard, loving kindness offered to the world, and a deep commitment to unfolding me and you in true love through our journey in this lifetime. That is the agenda here that Spirit has, to become more of what it is by means of us, and what it is love. So I accept for myself, and you can accept for yourself if you say yes. I accept that I am right now opening the doors and windows of my soul, letting love shine in and out from me. I accept that this love changes me, amplifies who I am, opens me to a greater way in the world. I am able and willing to bring forward love in so many new ways. And because I am willing and able and move in the direction that love points, I am lifted by the gift of love coursing through me. I am carried by this love in my life all the days of my life, and I am so grateful for my own willingness and yours to be love in action, to allow love to be the verb of our life. Say with me now, and so it is. Thank you. We're going to go to Amber for another song, and then I'll tell you a little bit about what's going on here at the center. And have you received the message? Should we go on with the announcements and forget
I'm
it?
so grateful for this community.
We got it.
Let's sing Fill Me Up. For the sun that warms this body, for the earth that we call home, for the love that knows no boundary, I am thankful. For the trees that line the mountains, for the sea and life it holds, for the source of inspiration, I am thankful. Love, light, life, fill me up. Peace, power, beauty, joy, fill me up. For the one infinite divine that is and ever was, I am thankful. I am thankful for abundance and growing, for the mystery unfolding, for each and every being, sacred truth we are knowing, for kindness and compassion and the courage to take action, for the law of attraction and the freedom to create. Love, light, life, fill me up. Peace, power, beauty, joy, fill me up. For the one infinite divine that is and ever was, I am thankful. I am thankful. Love and light, love, light, life, fill me up. Peace, power, beauty, joy, fill me up. For the one infinite divine that is and ever was, I am thankful. I am thankful for the sun that warms this body, for the earth that we call home, for the love that knows no boundary. I am thankful. Blessings to you all, and we'll see you again soon.
Here we are. And a couple of things, if you've borne with us and you're here for the announcements, there's one that I wanted to make that is not in the constant contacts that we send out that I just found out about yesterday. You may know that our center is taking a trip to Portugal, and that's in late September, early October. And we are going with a tour group called Spirit Tours, who pretty much only goes with Science Mind, CSL type folks. And 2 of our members have had to drop off, and so there are now 2 spaces where we were completely full. So if you would like to go with us to Portugal, please email the center at info@csl-bellingham.org and let us know that you're interested, and we will put you in touch with the tour operator, Jim Kramer, and get you signed up for this wonderful tour. It is a spirit tour, so we'll be touring some sacred sites, seeing a lot of the land of Portugal, and immersing ourselves in that culture for a time. Other things that are happening, you may have already availed yourself of the pre-service community room. It's a Zoom room that we've set up. The practitioners are running it, and I'm so grateful for that. And it's an opportunity for new friends and old friends to get together in the Zoom room and just have a few moments of chatting together and talking. It opens at 10:05 every Sunday until we reopen again, and goes until about 10:20, and then we close it so you can jump onto the live stream. You can find the connection for that, the Zoom link for that on our website. We have a series of workshops that we've been offering, and we have 2 coming up, one on February 27th and one on March 6th. I'd like to encourage any of you, whether you've gone to all of them or none of them, to consider coming to both of these. These are very powerful, 1.5-hour interactive, really get down into how do we actually use this stuff in our personal lives kind of workshops. And they go from noon to 1:30. So on the 27th, they're talking about how to manifest and work with the law of cause and effect so that your life becomes happier and more meaningful. And then on March 5th, we're going to be starting your spiritual tool kit and looking at different things that might help you along the spiritual path. Typically on the second Sunday of the month, we have our men's circle, but today is the Super Bowl, and the man who runs our men's group is a Rams fan, and so we're not having men's circle today, but we will rejoin again on March 13th, and we hope by then to be in a hybrid format. We're not sure, but we'll keep you posted on that. That leads me to also let you know that the Women's Circle is meeting next Sunday from 12 to 1:30 on Zoom only. But I have to tell you, I'm part of the planning team for the Women's Circle, and I'm very excited about this particular offering, and I hope that if you identify as a woman, you'll consider coming and being part of it, even if it is on Zoom. We're seeking to make it meaningful and personal and potent for you and for all of us who attend. So that's happening next Sunday. We also have an incredible thing that's going to be starting up very soon. It's a free opportunity for to join a book club. And the book club is focusing on a book called Saving Us, a climate scientist's case for hope and healing. And so this book club begins on February 21st and it's meeting on the 21st, the 28th, then skips and goes to March 7th, 14th, and 21st. So we'd love you to be a part of this. There's a different way to sign up for this than typically in our center. So you need to find the announcement either on our website, or if you're a constant contact person, you can find it there. And there's a site called Ticket Tailor that you're going to sign up for this free book club, so that Kathy Angel, our facilitator for this book club, can send you the reading list and the Zoom link via that. So that's happening very soon. A couple of other things you may want to know about tomorrow. A group of the Earth Stewards, that's our group of people that are concentrated in how to help everyone move with clarity to assist in changing the way we've been doing the climate and the global way we've been working, and to come up with some new solutions. So what they're doing tomorrow, and you are invited to become a brand new Earth Steward if you aren't one already, they're going to a beach. And it's part of a larger Washington coastal group that cleans up beaches and picks up plastic and the things that have been deposited by the ocean and cleans the beach. So that's happening tomorrow. So obviously, if you're a working person, this may not work for you. But they're going to be meeting from 10 to noon. They're going to be at the I&J Waterway in Bellingham. It's the waterfront in Bellingham. And you can look on our website to find details under the Earth Stewards link on our website and get all the details for that by going there. And let's see, so many things. We're having a new member information meeting. That's going to be happening on a Wednesday evening, March 2nd, from 6 to 7:15. You'll be meeting with me on Zoom, asking questions about what it means to be a global member of our community, and we'd love to tell you a little bit about who we are and what we're doing. That's happening. And probably the most exciting news is, remember I was telling you about the marriage and family piece of my life journey through spiritual circles. I have been deeply concerned of late, and perhaps you have been too. A pandemic that lasts for over 2 years is straining the fabric of our mental health, our spiritual health, our emotional health, and even our physical health. Many of us have gained weight, we're afraid to go to the gym, et cetera, et cetera. And because of this concern, I've been really deeply contemplating how we can get together safely in person and have not only connection as a community, but the ability to have those 5 A's show up through an event. And so one of our best community offerings over the years has been an offering called Gourmets for Good. And we have decided to start that back up with COVID safety measures in place. But we are letting you know that this summer we will have weekends full of delightful opportunities to connect with other people around a table, at a picnic, on a hike, with a packed lunch. We don't know what those dinners and lunches will be, but we're inviting you to consider, if you're in the Whatcom County, Skagit County area, consider becoming a host for one of these gatherings. The information will be coming out shortly on our website, and I'll be talking about it more as we go along. But this is just a heads up that that's going to be happening. These dinners, lunches, and events are bid on, and so we're going to be bidding for those at tables outside under awnings with physical distancing so that we can be safe in our bidding process. If you're living here but are not feeling comfortable, we'll have ways for you to bid from afar. So it's happening. I'm very excited about it, and you'll hear a lot more about it in the days coming up. Right now, thank you for bearing with our little glitches. We live in a perfection-free zone here at our center, and I hope you do too. And I'm just grateful for everybody that made it happen today. Thank you to all of you. Happy Thanksgiving. May love be your way.